Why, hello, you amazing, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Getting Off Tempo. I'm your host, Luke, and today I'm lucky enough to be joined by Japanese singer Nano. Known for her unique track list, incredible anime openings, and songs featured on some of the most popular PlayStation games. Here, off the back of her European tour, Nano, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. Thank you.
I've been trying to break free.
No, it's amazing to have you. Very excited to speak with you. For all the people who are watching at home and who may be new to you and your music, perhaps you could give a brief introduction. How did you get into music and where did the journey of Nano begin?
Well, that's a really long story, but just to keep it nice and short. I was born in the US and my parents are both Japanese. So I was Japanese raised in the US, and I've always had a love for Japan, just like the world seems to have a love for Japan now. And particularly what really just struck me was the music and the anime and the subcultural entertainment of Japan. And I originally really just loved performing on stage, especially singing. And so something in child Nano said that I just wanted to do or pursue music or singing in Japan. So that was kind of my start. It was a vague start, but for some reason I just continued going after that dream. Then I moved to Japan just for the sole sake of pursuing my singing career. I had no promises of anything. I hadn't any contracts with or labels or anything. I was just going there to just go
Chase
out
the
on
dream.
go out on the adventure. I don't know really what led to things, but it was just like a natural flow of things. I started posting my songs on the internet. Back then, it was not as major a thing as it is now, but it was starting to get kind of hyped up. That was the only way for me to really put my music out there at the time. And so that was my start. Someone miraculously from a record label found my cover songs online. At first it was like a daunting thing for me. Actually, it was a dream, but at the same time it felt surreal.
Yeah, very big change from everything you'd known up until that point.
Yeah, so I did hesitate just for a split second because I wasn't sure if this was the actual step into the dream that I had been going after, or if this was correct or not. But I just trusted my gut feeling. I was like, this might be the last chance I ever get for someone to believe in me enough to put my music out into the world. And I grabbed that chance by the horns, and here I am. So it started really long. That was really long.
No, not at all. It's an awesome story to hear. So you said you moved out to the US to pursue music. Did you move out on your own then? Because you were quite young when you moved to Japan from the US.
Actually, my parents raised me there, but then I moved with my parents first. I was still in my teens, and so I just said, Mom, I just need to go to Japan or I'm going to die. So you know what that means. And so, my mom has been such a supporter for my passion of music my entire life. Seriously, there was no promise of anything going to Japan, but she was the one that said, okay, we're gonna sell the house, we're gonna just, risk everything and go out into the ocean and try to find our way and, find something there. So first I came with my parents, my mom, and so I've been in Japan since then, and a lot of things were really tough in the beginning because, I didn't know how to live in Japan. I was Japanese, but inside I was completely, American, so.
Yeah, you'd grown up in New York, so quite a big sort of change and a big shift. I can imagine it took quite a lot of getting used to. But it sounds like just crossing the sea and chasing that dream was definitely the right decision for you and your family.
Seriously, I really don't know what I would have done if I hadn't taken that chance. I can't really see myself or imagine what I'd be doing right now.
God, that's amazing. I love that it all just started from a teenager's dream. Just we should go to Japan. I want to become a singer, and here you are now. That's amazing. What a brilliant start to an awesome story.
Yeah, it is.
I did want to give you a big compliment as well, because when I first started listening to Japanese music on my channel, I asked my audience for recommendations, and your name was actually one of the first that came up when I asked them for recommendations to new Japanese artists. They introduced your song Never Everland. And when I reacted to that song, the entire comment section was just filled with love and support for your music. So I felt like that was definitely something worth mentioning. And I also wanted to ask, to a brand new fan who is super new to your music, who wants to discover your music, what are some songs you would recommend to grab them and take them down the Nano rabbit hole?
Well, first of all, thank you. I'm completely flabbergasted. That is amazing, and I'm just so happy that people are able to discover my music even now, even after so many years have gone by since I released most of these things. One of the songs that I feel that my fans around the world really have appreciated over the years is a song that was done for an anime called Arpeggio of Blue Steel, and that song is called Savior of Song. That one was like one of the big sort of door openers for my career, I feel like. Up until then I had done anime songs, but I don't know, something about that song, it just went out on its own.
Yeah.
Like even now, if I go overseas to events or do shows, the crowd will sing with me.
Yeah, that's the one you did with My First Story, right?
Yes.
Amazing. What was it like working with My First Story on that song then? Because I imagine that was, like you said, it was a while ago.
Yeah, it was. My memory is bad about a lot of things because at that time, like I was still, even as a musician, as a singer, everything was so new to me, and I hadn't even grasped anything about being a singer yet. I probably couldn't really call myself a singer even though I was doing it for a job, Suddenly getting a chance to work with someone other than myself and the director was very new to me. Back then, of course, My First Story was already, an up and going band, but they were still indies, and they were trying to sort of figure out their place in the rock sort of environment as well. And so I feel like we were both trying to just dive into finding who we are, and that kind of emotion, that sort of hungriness really came through the song, I think, for both of us, for both me and the vocalist Hiro. And I when I listen to that song, I feel like we're both really driven and hungry to pursue something.
Yeah, just pushing off each other with the same kind of energy, being able to have that chemistry with a singer who you're fairly new to meeting when you're still trying to discover your own sound, and then just having that click with them, like being able to link on that emotion around this song. It must have been quite a nice feeling, I can imagine, when feeling a bit lost at the time.
Definitely. I'm a solo singer, and so sometimes I do get a little lonely just, by myself. And so being able to collaborate with a lot of different musicians and creators in my career is something that I really treasure. It always gives me some sort of new learning, and I get to experiment with a lot of different sounds, and I still keep on learning to this day about a lot of things that I hadn't known about before. So, I just love collaborating with talented musicians.
It's funny you mentioned Savior of Song, because it's actually one of my favorite music videos of yours. Like the set being on that dockyard, surrounded by what I'm guessing are destroyers, but I'm not 100% sure. It looked like an incredibly fun music video to actually create. What was the process like? Did you get to have a good exploration of the ships? Did you spend the entire day there? I can imagine it was quite fun to turn up and just film the video there.
I absolutely love talking about the sort of behind the scenes of this video, because the shooting of it was very cool in itself. But watching the music video, it just absolutely looks really chill and cool and everything. I mean, it's rock and roll, but it's so chill and everything. We were on that sort of ship. It's an actual working ship. There were actual marine workers on that ship.
Oh, wow.
At the time. And so we had to it took an entire day to shoot, because we had to sort of not sneak in. We had, permission to do it, but we had to sneak in.
Sneak on the ship.
We had to sneak in. But we had to aim to shoot between their breaks. They would do the morning, bugle calls. They actually did that, do, or trumpets, or things. And then they would go on the ship, and then we would wait until their break to shoot, and we would just jump on the ship and say, okay, here, let's shoot a couple shots. Take one, take two. Okay, we're out of time. get off, and then we get off, and then we have to wait for another couple of hours to shoot. And it was in the middle of like August. And in Japan, if you've ever been here, August right now, actually, it's August right now, but is the worst month ever in Japan.
For heat?
In terms of heat. It is certainly not a great month to be rocking out on a ship under the burning sun in wearing leather outfits. And oh my gosh, we were just baking in there. And that was like, now that I think about it, it's kind of like a nostalgic memory. And so I think it's very rare that not just myself and, for the staff, but for actual, viewers of the music video to take a look inside the actual ship.
Yeah, especially an active one as well.
Yeah. So I think I think I'm one of the only maybe musicians that have rocked out on a marine ship.
Yeah, like even when I saw the video, I assumed it was decommissioned. Hearing that it's like active just makes it even more like of a rewarding look back. I can imagine when you sit down and you watch that video back, you're like, wow, that's something really cool. Like that ship was sailing like not long after and things.
Yes, I mean it's something that not everyone gets to do. So I think it's definitely a milestone in my career that I could say, yeah, I've done it. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You mentioned earlier that you started your YouTube channel first and then you conducted covers of Vocaloid songs. And this is something I've noticed a few singers do as well from Japan. And also now I'm noticing from other countries too. What do you think it is about Vocaloid songs in particular that allure so many singers to attempt to cover these unique and unusual tracks? And especially what allured you to Vocaloid songs at such a young age when you moved to Japan?
Originally, I mean, now a lot of people, a lot of different creators create Vocaloid songs, so you can't really say it's all like this. But particularly back then, I do feel that Vocaloid songs were created not for humans to sing, but for the Vocaloids to sing, of course.
Yeah.
So sometimes, the melodies or like the song, the way the song flows is not your like, what do you call it? Like average J-pop song or, pop song or whatever it is.
It's different.
Yeah, it is different. And sometimes it's more challenging. Sometimes there are like hooks and phrases that you wouldn't find normally in a regular sort of J-pop song. And so I think that kind of made people want to try singing them, like challenge themselves to sing them.
Yeah.
It was a genre that was really new. And so people who were sort of tired of listening to the same songs all the time maybe felt like this was something new and exciting. It was something that was on a new like battlefield. There were not so many rivals on there,
Absolutely. A fun kind of challenge to explore, I can imagine. Like, especially with the challenges that come with a Vocaloid song. They're doing things with the voice that otherwise couldn't be done. So to be able to cover them, I imagine, is quite rewarding.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Vocaloid songs is there's no original like real singer, and so you're free to be able to express it the way you want. There's no like, oh, but the original is better, or they're not singing it like the original. There's no that kind of thing when it comes to when you do cover songs of actual artists. You get those comments sometimes, right? But with Vocaloid songs, you're absolutely free to do it the way you want without having people judge you for not doing it right or wrong. Even the Vocaloid producers who create the songs aren't saying like, hey, you need to ask me for my permission to cover my song. It's free for all,
Yeah, very flexible.
Yes, it is. I think that's the beauty of Vocaloid songs and covering them.
No, that's amazing. Do you remember the first time you heard a Vocaloid song, or who was the first Vocaloid you got into?
Back then, I think the main Vocaloid that was sort of trending was a Vocaloid called Gumi, and Miku was there from before, but there's a Vocaloid called Gumi who was more of a rock and roller.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of Vocaloid producers used Gumi's voice for more rock type songs. Naturally, I was listening more of Gumi's songs.
Yeah.
One of the songs that I covered, not the first song that I covered, but one of the songs that I covered of Gumi's that really, really started off sort of my road into music online was Mosaic Roll. And that was the song that I just first ever covered in English. And I was like, why would my cover of this really popular song even reach anyone's ears because there's so many people singing it already? I was in my room. I had a really cheap condenser mic. And since my walls were really thin, I had to put a duvet over my head, a cover over my head. And I was singing, sweating because it was summer, or no, it was winter, but I was still sweating.
Yeah, you're under a duvet. Yeah.
So I was like, this quality is horrible, but I mean, I took it. So, and then I threw it onto the net, and a couple days later, I was checking, the video, and then I was like, what? And I did a double take because I saw that my video was climbing higher and higher on the Nico Nico Doga rankings. I was like, wait, what's going on? And then I think it was December 31st or something that it reached #1. I was like, no, this is not real. This is what's going on.
An amazing New Year celebration.
Exactly. And that was the start of my year. And it was very, very short after that. I think my not career, but my days as an utaite was very short compared to most utaites.
I imagine being quite close to your mother, like you mentioned earlier, that must have been just such an awesome experience to share with her and tell her that sort of news. I can imagine she was very excited as well.
Yeah, definitely. I did share all my music with her. I still do. But at the time, she wasn't familiar with Nico Nico Doga, or I don't think she really understood the sort of hype about it. But then when I said, well, there's a label director who DM'd me, and he said, so, do you want to release a CD? And she was like, what? What? All of a sudden, that all of a sudden to her. And of course, to me, it was all of a sudden, but she was actually sick. And so she was in the hospital when I told her about this. And so I was like, when you get out of the hospital, I'm going to take this chance, and I'm going to make this dream that you helped me go after for so many years, and I'm going to make it come true. And I promised her when she was on the hospital bed. And of course, she's fine now. But yeah, it was very, very emotional.
Yeah, that sounds like an absolutely amazing thing at such an amazing time as well. Very much needed. I do want to say something else. I feel like I hope that you understand just how significant of a role you have when doing these English covers, because for someone like me as well who doesn't speak Japanese, and for a lot of worldwide fans now who are getting into anime and Japanese music as it's becoming bigger and bigger every year, having those artists that you can connect to on that language level is incredible. And as an artist like you who's been doing it for so long, I definitely feel like you all have such a strong role to play in connecting Japan with the Western world and bringing in those fans. So I definitely feel like it's thanks to artists like you who take those chances, who do those songs, that really bring in people like me. I think we're all very grateful. And yeah, I just wanted to say, I hope you know what a big role you have in shaping the scene.
Wow. Thank you. Back when I started, actually, there weren't many people who were doing that yet. And I was always feeling like more people should be able to have this chance to do that, because I knew that slowly and surely people outside of Japan were becoming more and more interested in Japanese music. And now, there are so many YouTubers and singers and utaites that are not even living in Japan, from anywhere around the world, that are doing English covers of these songs. And this just makes me so happy. And it's, maybe things were born in Japan. There are some things that were born in Japan, but I don't think that makes it just a Japanese thing. Good things should be shared around the world, and I really do believe this from the bottom of my heart. I'm just happy that so many people are being able to do this without having to think like it's a bad thing, sharing things from Japan.
No, definitely. I absolutely agree. And I would say that's, you've always done a good job at connecting those bridges. I mean, your earlier covers, you didn't just cover Vocaloid, you also covered American singers like Avril Lavigne. I'm actually not sure if Avril Lavigne's American or Canadian, so I'm going to be careful in saying that one. But yeah, that was considering you were doing Vocaloid songs and then these classic sort of punk songs, I would say that was a bit more aligned with your your sort of, you know, rock sound, what lured you to like Avril Lavigne and artists like that as well when you were doing such a contrast of music on your channel at the time?
You know, I'm just this kind of person that loves doing a lot of different things. Even as a singer right now, I have no idea what genre I am. Like I sing anime songs, I love rock and roll, but I love pop. I love EDM. I even listen to classical music. And I just think a lot of things, because I love so many things, that a little bit of a lot of things are a part of my music.
Yeah.
I always say to myself, don't be scared or shy to try things that might be out of your box, because all these things put together make something new and exciting that isn't maybe in the world already. And if I'm gonna do something, I don't wanna do something just because it's popular or just because a lot of people are doing it. I wanna do something that's new and exciting and maybe give someone inspiration out there. And I grew up listening to a lot of different types of music. And Avril Lavigne was an artist that I really, really loved as a teenager and as a young adult. Her type of music has always been sort of a root of me as well, alongside like the Beatles and emo rock as well, like My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and even a lot of UK rock. All of these things have been a part of me, and so I just sing what I want, and yeah.
I would say that's actually like awesome, because as fans of music, you do listen to more than one genre. You speak to people, they're not just like single genre most of the time at least, but artists usually are. Like they usually are single genre artists. So it's rare to have an artist that kind of mimics the fandom, where as like people who love music will listen to multi-genres. It's rare to have an artist that goes over multi-genres as well. Like it is like a fan of music performing music. So I think that makes you quite unique there.
Wow, that's really a nice way to put it. And I think that if someone were to sort of just go to my Spotify and just randomly listen to a lot of different songs, not just like Save Your Song or Never Ever Land, they'd find that I really sing a lot of different types of music. It's not just like really fast, sort of anime style rock and J-rock. And I think that's what keeps me like not getting sick of my own music.
Very passionate to continue to like keep doing this, keep creating.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's not just your songs that feel like they're all over the place in a good way. I'd say your music videos kind of feel like that too as well. I mean, you have live action music videos like we mentioned with Savior of Song and Born to Be, but then you also have digital music videos like Never Ever Land and Devil in Me. What would you say are some of your favorites to create? Because having such a wide variety of different videos and having that different approach isn't something you see with many artists. So you have kind of a unique perspective in creating pretty much every style of video a singer can create.
Like it just, I do what feels right. Like if I listen to a song and I feel that, I just have this like intuition that, oh, this is a real me song. This is an animation song, and I do feel like different styles of artwork fit different styles of songs. I think it's important now, since in this generation particularly, that there's so many ways to put a video out. You know, a lot of different viewers like different styles of things. So I think it's important to be able to cater to a lot of different people if you want your music to reach more people.
Yeah, it gives you the exact way to match the emotion of the song. You have like a wider variety to bring that to people, not just limited to a camera and yourself.
Exactly. And of course, I do respect the types of artists that know exactly who they are. They do one thing and they do it forever. And I love those styles of singers as well, especially like Avril Lavigne is that kind of musician where her style of music has not changed in 20 years, you know, and that's amazing, I think. But that is not who I am. I feel like even though I love Avril Lavigne as a musician, that doesn't mean that, you know, that goes with the same as me. And I just feel like I'm always trying to change myself, always trying to see what kind of evolution I can create in my life. I just love new explorations and discoveries. So.
I love that is a sort of theme you can see across your music, and your music videos match that theme where, like you said, you're a chameleon. You're quite happy to approach everything, give everything a go. Different styles of videos, different styles of songs. And you've even worked on loads of anime songs and anime openings, more than anyone I've spoken to, actually. When I was going through your list, there was so many. So one thing my audience is always curious about is what an artist's relationship is like with the studios and with creating these songs. Like, how does it work? When you approach these songs that already have like an established story, how do you prepare the process? How does that conversation begin? Are there any major differences in your usual workflow and then working with an anime studio and on an anime song?
Compared to maybe some other rock bands, my start was actually anime. So that was what the way to create songs and recordings and everything was anime style for me. And I can say that like creating original songs and creating anime songs, the process is very, very different. Since I started off with the anime process, that is more comfortable for me in a way compared to creating completely original songs from scratch. And the main difference I feel like is that for any sort of anime process, I think there's always going to be a story first and the characters. When you create a song, they're not going to say, just create any type of song and we'll use it on the anime. They have a kind of distinct image.
So you get like a guideline sheet.
Yeah, and so you try to take, sometimes they like hand you like an encyclopedia thick guideline, but sometimes they only give you a couple of keywords. But this is something I love doing. And that's probably why I am still doing it to this day. I just love taking ingredients that someone gives me and just throwing them into my brain and trying to cook something that is new, something that nobody else has created, something that only I can create. And so usually really doesn't take much time for me to do, but once that process goes in, then we find a good sort of songwriter who can fill that sort of niche. Once we find the song creator, they create a sort of demo song, anime size, which is only a minute and 30 seconds because that's the only part that will be used in the anime.
So that's something you yourselves do. You create the minute and then that gets submitted, the minute and 30 seconds.
And we submit like a demo, a really, really rough demo. And then the anime side goes in and they're like, or, you know, they might say, yeah, this is great. Or they might say, well, we want a little bit more of this and that in there. And then so once we create the 1 minute and 30 seconds, to be honest, the rest of the song is completely free for us to create. And the anime side really doesn't really have any say in the other half of the song. They only really care about the minute and 30 seconds.
Oh, I've always wondered that because sometimes you do actually see a big shift in like sometimes the song will go on for way longer, like 5 or 6 minutes, and it can feel like 2 songs in one. So that actually makes a lot of sense. Like I never knew that was the case.
Yeah, so like I think that's kind of like very unique in terms of songwriting around the world. Like I think that's a very Japanese anime style way and unique to anime songs. You know, sometimes songs do sound very different in the beginning and end if you listen to a lot of anime songs. And also a lot of songs, anime songs, tend to start with singing in the beginning. Like Western songs have a really long, nice, you know, intro. But usually anime songs start with the vocals because it needs to grab people in the first second it's on air, you know, on TV. The first minute and 30 seconds that the anime uses is usually very high tempo, very catchy. It grips the listener even if they've never heard of it before.
Oh, amazing. It's nice hearing a little bit about the creation process behind it. As my community and myself and you as well, as being like big anime fans, it's always exciting to hear a little bit about how all of that works because those aren't questions we usually get the answers to. Moving on from anime to your recent lead single, Endgame, this has received incredibly positive reviews and with inspiring lyrics as well, referencing terms like breaking free, becoming who you want to be, embracing the uniqueness of yourself, combined with a powerful heavy metal track, deep screams. It just felt so inspiring. With Endgame being the title track on your new album, aIomaly, what are you hoping listeners feel and take away from this song? I've
been, you know, singing now since my debut, and even to this day, I feel like every day in a good way is like a battlefield for me when I'm singing. And the reason is because I'm always like hungry to keep changing, hungry to keep moving, finding new things, finding new ways to connect with more people around the world through my music. And so Endgame particularly is a song that I really wanted to express that even if sometimes you do feel like something is coming to an end, or maybe you are faced with something that looks like there's only one end, in most cases, there are a lot more options and a lot more like futures beyond that end game. And it's the way you play your life, it's the way you look at life that changes the end game.
Yeah, that the end is almost like constructed by you. You as an individual will construct the end and set up the barriers for yourself in a way.
Exactly.
I love that because I feel like that is actually very true. I was going to read this out, but I thought it would actually be better coming from you. And that is your quote describing how it was you came up with the name, because I feel like that kind of matches what you just said about Endgame as well. So how did you come up with the album title?
I've been singing anime songs, but actually I have not been like a huge game player. And recently, just very recently, maybe in the last year or so, I started playing games for the first time in my life. And
amazing.
Yes, and I have fallen in love with playing particular games. And the games that I'm playing have these like end game modes in them. And they're very challenging. And so that was a huge inspiration for me to create the title for Endgame. And as for my album, aïomaly, this was a little bit of a different story, but one day I just heard this term anomaly out of nowhere. I didn't know what it meant. So I went online and I was like, ChatGPT, what does anomaly mean? I just absolutely fell in love with the meaning of anomaly. And anomaly meant that something was out of place, or something was, out of the ordinary. And I was like, that's me. Like, I always feel that way. That's the way I've felt my entire life. Even with my music, I always feel like my music isn't quite like rock. It's not just anime. It's not this and that.
Yeah, no one single path.
Exactly. So I felt like aïomaly just described me as a person, as a musician, and my music as well. When it all comes to the end, I think like music is just noise in a good way. Like, it's a lot of different types of noises coming together to make something beautiful, something emotional, something maybe really sad, heartbreaking. And there's no right or wrong. There's no dictionary that says this is what a song is,
No, that's amazing. I love that even after, like you said, your debut from 12 years to now, even like you discovered the word that you felt most resonated with you, one that was completely new to you, and it even after all that time, that's when it clicked. So I think that's like I think that's kind of like the reason I felt like it would be best coming from you is because obviously instead of me just reading out, you are the one who created that, and also hearing it from you, I feel like helps so many people, because a lot of people can feel like they don't fit in, or they're a bit, outcast from certain areas, and trying to find their people or find their own path, like you said. And I think people need to understand that other people feel that, and it's normal, and not feel so scared about it. And like you said, it can be a good thing as well. So which I think is really amazing and like a really powerful thing.
That's what this is all about, isn't it? Like, maybe 10 years, 20 years ago, when we didn't have the internet so much, it was really hard to be able to find your place in the world, I feel like, because, society was, there were real people everywhere, and people judged you for not being like the same as everyone else. But the wonderful thing about living right now, I feel like, is everyone is somehow able to find their own niche in the world. And they don't feel like they're left out, by loving something that they feel honestly passionate about. Because there's a lot of people in the world that share the same passion, and they're able to vocalize that on the internet and come together.
Everyone's able to connect.
Exactly. And so like, that's what I love about, people on YouTube, someone like you as well, to be able to like just share your content with the world and give people a reason to like feel passionate about something. I just really think it's so amazing the things that people like you do on YouTube and on the net. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, well, that's very flattering to say, especially coming from you, who I would say is the poster in doing exactly that. As someone who dances over so many genres, you are that safe harbor for so many music fans out there. So, like I said, reacting to your music, I get nothing but endless positive comments. So I hope you realize you're a bit of a lighthouse in that regard too.
Thank you. But you know, you're someone who helps people discover my music and music out there. So please do keep doing that and sharing something you personally love or find interest in, because there are a lot of people that discover those things through you, and so yeah, thank you.
No, that's amazing. Thank you so much. I am aware that I don't have you for much longer, and I really feel like I could talk to you for an entire day. It's just, I've just got like a million questions, but as we're running out of time, I'll just leave with two instead. One thing I really wanted to make sure we spoke about was your recent European tour, because this was your first European tour. So I wanted to know, what was that like? What were your experience like? You also came to the UK, so what was that like for you?
Oh my gosh, wow. Well, I've been having the opportunity to go to many countries around the world since my debut. Oddly though, I have not had the opportunity to go to Europe much. The only country that I went to was Germany. Since I was little, I know this is very like a majority thing to say, but I grew up loving a lot of things that came from the UK. I don't know, but something about Europe was so like interesting to me. It felt so different, and I loved the culture and like things there so much, the music, like media type things. Like I loved Harry Potter, I loved the Beatles, I loved Sherlock Holmes. All these things that I loved as a child were from the UK and everything. And my dream was to go to the UK someday, but I didn't think it was going to come true as a singer. It took me many years to achieve that dream, but I feel like this was the perfect timing. Because I didn't go just for sightseeing. I went there to sing. And what greater, dream is that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not only do you come to the UK fulfilling your dream as a teenager, but I can imagine you also come to the UK and you get that warm welcome. You're there to perform music. Everyone who you're going to meet is there to see you as well, is there to, like sing along to your songs, and is there because, like we said, you achieved that dream.
Exactly. And whenever I go to a new country, it is always a little bit daunting to me because I don't know how many people will come to my shows. I don't know if anyone has really heard my music in that country or not. And it's a challenge for me, but it's a challenge that I'm always willing to take, whether or not the outcome is exactly what I expected or not. I just feel like safety is so boring for me. And even if my shows end up being for 5 people or 100 people, it really doesn't matter to me, because those 5 people are there to have a really great time. And that is no different from having 100 people have a great time, because no matter how many shows that I do, there will always be someone at my show whose first show it is in their life.
Very true, yeah.
Yes, I remember the first show I ever went to, and I still remember it to this day. So I always try to tell myself that there's gonna be someone in the crowd whose first show it is, and if they are not happy with that show, that's such a sad thing. So I have to make each and every one of my shows like my first show,
Yeah, I love that idea. That's a really like thoughtful idea of like every time you take the stage, you're like, you remember that memory and you want to give that memory to someone else. Were you able to do anything here in the UK outside of music? Were you able to have a little bit of fun? Any places you wanted to visit that you were able to? Or were you only here for a short while?
Oh, I was only there for a couple of days, and to be honest, I'm not a huge sightseer. Whenever I go to a new country, I don't have much time, so I usually don't do much sightseeing, but I'm sorry, I just could not resist sightseeing in the UK because it was my childhood dream. And I did everything that is in the tourist book that you could imagine. Like, I mean, not everything, but like the top 3 things that every tourist in the UK does: ride the double decker, go to King's Cross Station, and cross the Abbey Road. And I did all 3 things.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I'm a true UK tourist now.
Well, I think that's the best way. Some people frown on that, but I think when you go to these cities, you've just got to embrace the tourist mode. You've got to see all the famous landmarks. Yeah, I hope it was a fun experience. I hope it felt just like you wanted it to, because I know sometimes people can be let down. But I think London's quite good I feel like it's been showcased correctly in a way. So hopefully you weren't there anything like, oh, okay, never mind.
Oh, to be honest, it went above my expectations by like 50 times. And I felt like, I don't know why, but maybe it's very, very like a light thing to say, but I really felt comfortable in the UK. And I knew that, oh yeah, I'm definitely coming back here. I really loved my couple of days there. And I'm not just saying this because you're from, around there, but I really love the country and I cannot wait to be back there. Next time though, I'm gonna do more local things, go around a little bit more, eat, more local foods, just enjoy the environment, work on my London accent a little bit.
If you get a chance, I'd recommend Brighton. That's where I grew up. It's a Pebble Beach sort of seaside town, but it's lovely. It's very eccentric. The people are very friendly. I'd say it has some of the best food in the UK as well. And if you get a nice sunny day, I'd say it's one of my favorite cities to visit in the UK, and you'll just feel like at home.
Oh wow, that sounds amazing.
So, I'm very aware we're pretty much out of time. So I'll leave you on my last question that I have to end the interviews on and ask everybody. As everyone is a huge fan of anime, what is your favorite anime and what are you currently watching?
Oh my god. Well, there are a lot of animes that I've watched over the years that I have renewed and loved, but I have to say the one anime that really I started watching as a child, and this was the anime that really made me fall in love with J-pop music. And so I can never not mention this. This anime is called Detective Conan.
Ah, Detective Conan, yeah.
Well, it's huge now in Japan, and it's getting huger and huger, even though it's been such a long-running series. But this was the anime that really made me listen to anime music, not just anime music, but as music. I found myself singing to all these songs, imagining that I was singing them on a stage in front of people, and it just made me feel so happy to sing. So I have to say that this anime really changed my life, and I also love the anime in general as well.
That's a really amazing thing, falling in love with the anime for the music, which is kind of how I fell in love with anime. And I think a lot of Westerners fall in love with anime. It's the music that grabs us. I love that that's how you kind of fell in love with it as well.
Yeah.
And is there anything you're currently watching?
Right now, I'm not currently watching anything, but I need to get started on a new series. But I did watch last season's Kaiju Hachigo.
Kaiju number 8?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Kaiju number 8.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good. The opening and the animation looks amazing on that one.
And this is an anime that actually, the opening songs and ending songs were sung by One Republic. They're not Japanese artists, and so that means that Western musicians now are singing for Japanese animes. And this is game-changing. This is, amazing.
Yeah, I felt like that as well. You had Youngblood doing the opening too, and it's awesome. I mean, Aurora did the recent opening for season 2 as well, and she's Scandinavian. I think it is amazing having those crossovers as well. I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I just think that, everything about evolution is crossing borders, breaking down barriers and walls, and this is exactly what is happening in the world right now. Not just with anime, but in the world in general. So yeah, I am all for that. Let's keep doing that, breaking down walls and barriers so that more people can come together.
Definitely, I absolutely agree there. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, I could just talk to you forever. It just your whole story, your journey is so inspiring and so intriguing, and I've absolutely loved hearing about it. And I wish you the best of luck on your upcoming mini Japanese tour and your new album as well. Thank you so much, Nano, for joining me.
Thank you so much. 本当にありがとうございます. Thank you, everybody.